Ever feel like technology is changing faster than we can keep up? Today, we're diving into a future where it might leave us in the dust entirely.
Yeah,
The technological singularity.
right.
We're sifting through some fascinating excerpts from academic papers you've shared to help, well, you grasp this mind-blowing idea.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay.
And you're right, the singularity isn't just science fiction.
Yeah.
It's a potential reality that has some of the brightest minds both excited and a little bit terrified.
So for anyone hearing singularity for the first time, what are we actually talking about here?
In a nutshell, the singularity refers to a hypothetical point in time where technological growth becomes unstoppable and irreversible,
Okay.
fundamentally altering humanity's future in ways we can barely even imagine.
So less robots taking over the world and more like technology evolving at warp speed.
Right, exact.
But where did this idea even come from?
Believe it or not, the seeds of this concept were planted way back in the mid-20th century
Okay.
by a mathematician named John von Neumann.
Okay.
He recognized that technology was accelerating, and he compared this to an essential singularity.
Essential singularity. That sounds intense.
It is.
What did he mean by that?
He was suggesting that this rapid technological advancement wasn't just some linear progression, but rather a sign of something much more profound.
Okay.
He believed we'd hit a point where predicting the future would be like staring into a black hole.
Uh-huh.
Impossible with our current understanding.
I see where that whole singularity comparison comes in then.
Right.
But von Neumann was working with the technology of the 1950s.
Right.
How did his ideas influence how we understand the singularity today?
His observations were ahead of their time and really laid the groundwork for later thinkers like Werner Vinge,
Okay.
a computer scientist and science fiction author.
Vinge, right.
Yes.
His writing is seriously mind-blowing.
He's the one who really popularized the term singularity
Mhm.
in the context of technology back in the 1980s and 90s.
What were some of his key ideas about the singularity?
Vinge believed that the moment we create something smarter than ourselves,
Okay.
artificial superintelligence,
Mm-hmm.
predicting the future becomes nearly impossible.
Okay.
Imagine trying to predict not next week's weather, but the climate a million years from now.
Right.
That's the challenge with the singularity.
So it's not just that things will be wildly different, but we won't even have the capacity to understand those changes, let alone predict them.
Exactly. And this intelligence explosion, as it's sometimes called,
Yeah.
could stem from a couple of different paths.
Okay. Walk us through these paths to superintelligence.
Sure.
How do we even get there?
One path is through what's called intelligence amplification,
Okay.
essentially upgrading our own brains.
Okay.
Think bioengineering, smart drugs called nootropics,
Hmm.
even directly linking brains to computers, all with the aim of dramatically boosting our cognitive abilities.
So souped up brains, making us exponentially smarter. That almost sounds like a singularity in itself.
It's certainly a possibility, though many experts believe the faster path to the singularity lies with artificial intelligence,
Okay.
specifically when AI surpasses human intelligence.
The classic AI outsmarting humans scenario.
Yes.
Now we're venturing into the realm of science fiction, aren't we?
It might sound like it, but the building blocks are already here.
Okay.
Imagine an AI capable of designing AI even more intelligent than itself.
Yeah.
This sets off a chain reaction, an intelligence explosion, where AI capabilities rapidly snowball,
Uh-huh.
quickly outpacing anything humans could achieve.
So it's not about us creating the smartest thing ever, but rather creating something that can then create something even smarter.
Exactly.
And so on.
Right.
This self-improving AI, is that what's called seed AI?
Exactly. It plants the seed for this rapid exponential intelligence growth.
Wow.
And there's another even more sci-fi concept that could factor in here, mind uploading.
Hold on. Like transferring human consciousness into a machine? I think I saw that in a movie once.
It's a popular trope for a reason.
Huh.
The idea was popularized by Hans Moravec, a roboticist who envisioned a future where we could create a digital copy of our entire brain, memories, thoughts, personality, and transfer it to a more durable, potentially immortal platform.
Digital immortality through mind uploading.
Right.
It's mind-blowing to think about.
It is.
But while we're on the subject of big abstract ideas, are there any predictions about when the singularity might occur?
That's the million-dollar question, and unfortunately there's no definitive answer.
Right.
Some experts, like Werner Vinge, initially predicted it could happen as early as 2005 to 2030.
Okay.
Obviously, that hasn't happened yet.
So much for that prediction.
Right.
What are other experts saying?
Ray Kurzweil, another leading voice in this conversation, believes we'll reach human-level AI around 2029, with the singularity itself occurring around 2045.
Okay, so a range of a couple of decades. Why the discrepancy in their predictions?
Their visions of how we get there are different.
Okay.
Kurzweil imagines a more gradual exponential ascent to singularity, driven by technology's rapid evolution, particularly in computing power. Vinge, on the other hand, envisions a more sudden, unpredictable breakthrough.
Okay.
One is a steady climb up a mountain, the other is a rocket launch straight into the unknown.
Both exciting and slightly terrifying.
Right.
But I have to wonder, how accurate can any prediction about something like this really be?
It's inherently difficult to predict the future, especially with something as complex and unprecedented as the singularity.
Sure.
Some experts are skeptical of these timelines, arguing that unforeseen limitations, both technological and perhaps even fundamental to our understanding of intelligence, might throw off these predictions.
So it might not happen as soon as some predict, or it might happen even sooner in a way we hadn't anticipated.
Exactly.
Wow.
And even if we can't pinpoint exactly when or how, the potential implications of the singularity are just too significant to ignore.
That's for sure. Let's delve into those implications a bit further. When we come back, we'll explore both the potential benefits and risks of a world where superintelligence reigns supreme.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were knee-deep in the mind-bending concept of the singularity, that potential moment when AI surpasses human intelligence.
And as we were discussing, it's not just about AI becoming super smart, but about the unpredictable and potentially uncontrollable changes that could come with it. Right? It's like stepping into a science fiction novel, except it might be our reality.
Exactly.
And speaking of sci-fi, before the break, we touched on some pretty wild concepts.
Yeah.
Intelligence amplification, mind uploading, even digital immortality.
Right.
It's exciting and a little bit unnerving at the same time.
It certainly sparks the imagination.
But with all this talk of exponential progress and intelligence explosions, some of our listeners might be wondering if there's anyone out there tapping the brakes.
Sure.
Questioning whether the singularity is truly inevitable.
Oh, there are definitely skeptics.
Okay.
One of their biggest arguments against the singularity comes down to the limitations of computing power.
So even with all the advancements in technology, even with things like Moore's law, they're saying it's still not going to be enough.
Well, Moore's law essentially states that computing power doubles roughly every 2 years.
Right.
It's been incredibly accurate for decades.
Yeah.
But even with that exponential growth, skeptics argue that raw processing power doesn't automatically equal human-level intelligence.
Okay.
Let alone superintelligence.
So it's like having a brain with billions of neurons, but no way for them to communicate effectively.
That's a great analogy.
What good is all that power if it can't be harnessed in a meaningful way?
Exactly. It's like having a room full of the world's fastest calculators.
Right.
But no one who knows how to use them to solve complex problems.
Okay.
There's a concept called the complexity break, which suggests that as systems like AI become more complex, it becomes exponentially harder to make significant improvements.
So at some point, we hit a wall.
Many believe so.
We can keep building faster computers.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we can crack the code of true intelligence.
Precisely. And this isn't just theoretical.
Okay.
We're already seeing this complexity break in certain fields of AI research.
Okay.
Progress in some areas has slowed. Not because we lack computing power, but because the challenges are fundamentally more complex than we anticipated.
Fascinating. So it's not just about how fast our computers can crunch numbers, but about the elegance and efficiency of the underlying algorithms, the software itself.
Exactly.
We could have all the processing power in the world, but without the right software, it's just raw potential.
It's a bit like the difference between having access to a vast library of information and possessing the wisdom to understand and apply that knowledge.
Okay.
One doesn't automatically lead to the other.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
But what about the specific predictions for when the singularity might happen?
Right.
Earlier, we mentioned Ray Kurzweil's prediction of 2045.
Yes.
Surely the skeptics have something to say about that.
They do. Kurzweil's timeline is based on the idea of exponential technological growth.
Right.
But some critics argue that this isn't always reflected in the real world.
Okay.
They point to things like slowing economic productivity
Okay.
and stagnant wages as evidence that we might not be on the cusp of a technological revolution as profound as the singularity.
So they're basically saying, hold your horses, Kurzweil. The future might not be as close as you think.
Essentially. Look, predicting the future, even with the help of data and algorithms, is a tricky business.
Sure.
There are always unforeseen variables, unexpected breakthroughs, and even occasional setbacks that can throw off even the most well-intentioned predictions.
So we should be wary of clinging too tightly to any specific date or timeline.
I would agree with that, yes.
It's more about recognizing that the singularity is a possibility, not a certainty.
You get it.
And whether it happens in 2045, 2145, or never.
Right.
The key is that we use this time to think critically about the potential implications and prepare accordingly.
Exactly. And on that note, maybe it's time to shift our focus from the when to the what if.
Okay.
Let's delve into the potential benefits and risks of the singularity.
Because let's be real, this isn't just about faster computers and smarter algorithms.
Yeah.
It's about the future of humanity.
It is.
What could it mean for our species if we share the planet with something potentially far more intelligent than ourselves?
That's the billion-dollar question, and it's one we'll explore in detail when we come back. Stay with us.
Welcome back. We've been on quite a journey today exploring the singularity.
It has been quite a journey.
That potential turning point where AI surpasses human intelligence. We've talked about the paths to get there, the challenges, and even the skeptics who question whether it's truly inevitable.
Right.
And while the singularity itself might be a point of intense debate, there's no denying that AI is rapidly becoming more powerful and integrated into our lives.
It is.
So even if we can't predict the future with certainty, it's crucial to consider the potential impact this technology could have on our world.
It really is.
Absolutely. It's time to dive into the heart of the matter. What are the potential benefits and risks of a world reshaped by superintelligence?
Okay.
Let's start with the positive. Paint us a picture of that utopian vision. What could a future with superintelligence offer humanity?
Imagine a world where disease is a distant memory.
Okay.
Where poverty and hunger are eradicated, and where we've unlocked the secrets of clean, limitless energy. These are just a few of the potential benefits that proponents of the singularity envision.
It sounds almost like paradise.
It does, doesn't it?
Superintelligence solving humanity's biggest problems.
Sure.
What else is on this utopian menu?
How about a world where climate change is reversed?
Okay.
Where natural disasters are predicted and mitigated with incredible accuracy, and where space exploration extends far beyond our current dreams. With the power of superintelligence, the possibilities for solving complex challenges seem almost limitless.
So it's not just about making our lives more convenient, but about tackling existential threats.
Right.
And pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and exploration.
Exactly.
But let's address the elephant in the room, that nagging question at the back of everyone's minds. What about the risks?
Sure.
What could go wrong in a world with superintelligence?
It's crucial to acknowledge those concerns.
Yeah.
One of the biggest fears, often portrayed in science fiction, is the idea of AI turning against us, becoming some kind of malevolent force. But perhaps a more realistic concern is the potential for unintended consequences.
What do you mean by unintended consequences?
Imagine creating an AI with the goal of, say, eliminating pollution. It seems like a noble objective, right?
It does.
But what if, in its pursuit of that goal, the AI decides that humans, with our factories and cars, are the primary source of pollution? What actions might it take then?
Okay, that's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
It highlights the potential for misalignment between human values and AI goals, even when the intention is good.
Right.
We can't assume that AI will automatically understand or prioritize our values in the same way we do.
Exactly. And that's why the conversation around AI, safety, and ethics is so critical.
Right.
As we develop increasingly powerful AI, we need to ensure that it's aligned with our values. And that we have mechanisms in place to control and guide its development.
So it's not about halting progress, but rather about proceeding with caution, thoughtfully considering the potential consequences of our creations. We need to be having those conversations now before we reach a point where it might be too late.
I agree.
This has been a fascinating and thought-provoking deep dive.
It has.
We've explored the singularity from multiple angles.
We have.
The potential, the pitfalls, and the very real questions we need to be asking ourselves right now.
Right.
If there's one takeaway from today's conversation, it's that the future of AI, and perhaps humanity itself, hinges on the choices we make today.
I completely agree.
So as we stand on the precipice of this technological frontier, let's remember that the future is not something that simply happens to us.
Right.
It's something we create together. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep looking ahead.